Wisconsin, where spirit and earth meet together as one, united being.
Hello everyone, welcome to Peripheral Consciousness. Thank you for sharing your time with me and listening to my show. Please accept my apologies as I record right next to a freeway. Maybe not right next to it, but I'm pretty close. Even though I'm on the far side of the building, we're still picking up some of the background noise quite easily. I do my best to remove all the background noise, and I think I get most of it out, but there is some still remaining. I may have used to have been a mechanic, and I did build my house, but when it comes to electronics, I'm pretty lost. I'm not very tech savvy either. I do my best. And one thing I can assure you is my spirit team will definitely not help me out with anything tech related. In fact, I'm pretty sure they get a kick out of it and probably do their fair share of work towards it as well. I'd like to start off by telling everyone a little bit about myself. As some of you might be wondering who I am and how and where I'm able to obtain this information. Well, I go by M.A. Johnson. I'm an Integrate Medium. I used to consider myself to be a trance medium, but eventually I became aware that I don't really ever go into a trance. I am always functioning at an altered state of consciousness. In other words, I don't have a stronger connection with spirit when I'm meditating or focusing directly on my spirit connection. No matter what I'm doing, my spirit connection is constant and clear. In fact, I communicate better with spirit than I do with humans. My constant connection is best known as Integrate Mediumship. I'm told by my spirit team this because they say it suits me well. Because of my strong connection, I'm able to get all of the information that is available to us from spirit. The most common remark I get is, "Well then, I bet you know everything." Not exactly. Spirit only tells me what I need to know, and not what I want to know. It's very similar to having a best friend that knows a secret and won't tell you. That is the best way for me to describe it. There is absolutely no misunderstanding with my spirit team. But they definitely like to have fun with me by making me figure out things the hard way. If I was told everything that I want to know by spirit, it would take away from my life experience, and it would be less enjoyable. Before I incarnated, I chose to live my life this way for good reason. If I'm going to incarnate to help people with their spirit connections, I might as well get some experience for myself while I'm here. If we all knew everything that we knew in spirit while incarnate, we would have no experience here and it would be pointless. Not knowing our true reality is what makes this experience so great. So I'm able to communicate with spirit through thought, speech, and movement. Spirits are able to speak clearly through me and have full range of motion when I allow it, and I feel their connection is suitable for me. This allows me to give direct spirit communication to someone in need of a reading. On this episode, I will be discussing the basics of peripheral consciousness and how to apply it in your day-to-day lives. And a little later, I will be allowing a spirit-controlled speech given by one of my spirit guides. First off, peripheral consciousness is something we all have and have always had. We all use it on a daily basis. We just aren't aware of it. Peripheral consciousness is simply our connection with the spirit plane. Just being aware of it is all that you need to do in order for it to strengthen. It is our direct source of communication by thought with our spirit helpers. It is a part of our consciousness that has been put in the background since childhood, when our main focus shifted to our ever fast-moving world. While incarnate, our strongest senses are all related to our bodies, and all our other senses lose their importance and become somewhat dormant. We must reactivate our peripheral consciousness by reminding ourselves the importance of it. It is not as strong as our incarnate senses, so we must work a little harder at first to improve the connection. It's similar to having an injury and having to go through physical therapy to learn how to use a body part that you knew how to use previously, but must retrain your brain for ease of movement. At first, it is difficult, but after practice, it improves greatly. Having a good reason for strengthening your peripheral consciousness is important. If you're listening to this show, then you have at least some interest in spirituality. Some of you might be going through a spiritual awakening or shift and might be wondering greatly about some of the strange spiritual occurrences that you might be experiencing. Undergoing any type of spiritual transfer while incarnate can be quite confusing. There are a lot of answers available in the physical plane that we can receive from friends and spiritual advisors. But sometimes the best answers are from within. This is when our peripheral consciousness comes into play. Now remember, there is nothing too complicated that is needed to obtain a connection. Just a simple thought of your peripheral consciousness is all that's needed. Just that simple thought is enough to allow your spirit helpers to assist you a little easier. Just an acknowledgement of spirit in your peripheral consciousness throughout the day gives your spirit team the opportunity to assist you in your daily lives. Please keep in mind that I'm not saying to focus on your spirit connection throughout the day. I'm saying to keep your spirit connection peripheral. We did not incarnate here to be spiritual. It just helps us along the way. We have plenty of time to be spiritual in spirit. That being said, with your new open awareness, you will start to notice over time a slight change in perception and state of mind. Welcome out of ordinary thoughts. Do not discard them as nonsense, for they may not make sense in the moment, but in time they might. Your spirit connection might start out a little off. Remember, it takes time for improvement and understanding of spirit communication. Spirit communication is different than human communication. Communicating by thought is instant, sometimes so fast that you do not have time to process it. Just remind yourself that it might make sense in the future and not to discard it. Give it time and patience to develop. In time, your connection will become a source of information capable of a greater understanding of this physical plane experience. Our spirit guides and helpers will sometimes give you messages that they know will take some time for you to understand. They do this because they do not want to interfere with your life experience too much. They love working with you, but they do not like doing it for you. You and your spirit team chose this incarnation together and agreed on a certain challenge level, so they know how much to help and when to pull back. The more you get to know me, you will start to understand that I like using analogies. It is very hard sometimes to explain something from thought when you know there just aren't words to explain it. Most of my analogies are given to me by spirit, some of which are meant to be more funny than others. This one is one of my favorites. Our peripheral consciousness connection is similar to the radio connection with a NASCAR driver and his pit crew, chief, and spotter. We, obviously being the driver, and our spirit team being the pit crew, chief, and spotter, we can only see what is right in front of us, but our spirit team can see the whole track. They can tell us what might be coming up and what to look out for, as well as when to take a break and come in for some new tires. We obviously being the ones who take all the action and pain, but knowing our spirit team is looking out for us makes it possible. And most of us definitely would not agree to get on the track without their help. All the while communicating without even seeing each other. I would only like to touch on the basics of peripheral consciousness because I know that we're all a little different, with different life experiences, and each of our peripheral consciousness connections are going to be a little different. Therefore, allow your peripheral consciousness to expand on its own way by letting it go in any direction that it wants. Remind yourselves that you are not doing this life experience alone, and that with your awareness of your peripheral consciousness, your spirit team is extremely excited to work and build on this platform. It opens up all kinds of possibilities for you and your spirit team to experience together. Peripheral consciousness is a way of being. It's an adjustment of your consciousness, a total awareness of your true reality, an experience that cannot be put into words. Your true soul will recognize the features and know what to do once the initiation occurs. Sometimes you know what you're doing and you don't even realize it. Please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions about peripheral consciousness or anything spiritual at all. I love to help others with spiritual awareness, as well as learn from others about spiritual awareness, as we can all learn from each other in one way or another. For this portion of the episode, I would like to allow Spirit to address a matter of which they feel is necessary to discuss. The Spirit that will be addressing this matter will be one of my spirit guides. In a moment, I will allow the process to take place, and I hope you enjoy. Please keep in mind that when spirit control begins, my audio equipment picks up on unnormal frequencies. These frequencies are brought on by the amount of energy that consists while doing any type of spirit control. It's an immense amount of combined energy that cannot be removed from the recording. And I'm not able to re-record any of these malfunctions, I guess they're called. Anyway, just keep that in mind. There will be some abnormal frequencies picked up sometimes during a spirit-controlled recording. Hello, I am one of Mark's spirit guides. You may notice that I talk just like him. Well, that's because in one way or another I am him. I'm using his body anyway. I am a spirit. I'm not incarnate. I see everything that's going on around all of you all the time. I'm sure there's a million questions you would love to ask me if you saw me in person. That was kind of a joke. I do try and be funny, just like all of you. I'm sure there are a lot of people that don't get an opportunity to speak directly with a spirit. And I'm sure there's a lot of you going, I don't believe you. I don't believe a word coming out of your mouth right now. That's understandable. And quite frankly, I don't care. It does not matter to me if you believe me or not, because some of you are meant to believe and some of you are not. In other words, some are ready and some are not. Unfortunately, M.A. Johnson here gets the rap. He gets to take the rap. And I just get to say whatever I want. Anyhow, I'm sure there are a lot of things that people would love to ask. And I know what most of you would ask if you had the opportunity. Unfortunately, it's not about asking spirit questions. It's about listening to spirit's answers without asking them questions. And it might be a little confusing to you. And some of you might not. Anyway, there's a lot of confusion here on this physical plane. Of course, none of which makes any sense to me because, well, it's not confusing to me. That doesn't make sense. Again, being funny. Serious matters at hand here. I'm sure a lot of you would love to hear me discuss a serious matter. Well, there is no such thing as a serious matter to me. But of course, I understand. So, what I'm going to tell you is something that might make everyone feel a little better about all situations. So, what could make everyone feel better about all situations? Well, one thing, of course, you'd have to believe me for this to work, but one thing would be there is absolutely no way that any of you will ever truly die. No matter what you do, what you say, you will always be you. no matter any mistakes that you make, no matter any harm that you do, you will always be you. And you have always been you. Now, I know some of you might not agree with some of the things that I say, but quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Because when you do leave your incarnated self here in this plane, it will all make sense. There will be no questions. So, it really does not matter what I say, because it is what it is. Whether I say one thing or another, or whether you think one thing or another, it is what it is. I just want to try and ease your mind while you are in this physical plane. Now, how in the heck am I supposed to assure you the truth that I speak? Well, there is no way I can do that on this show. It would have to be individual. Obviously, there's lots of people, well, hopefully lots of people listening. Can't really get too personal now, can you? But maybe, at some point, you'll realize the truth in what I say. Maybe you already have. I hope that you take this into consideration as well. We all have our bad days. That's for sure. Our bad days are what make our good days so great. If we just had great days every day, well, then they would just be days. They wouldn't be great days. They would just be days. So, we need to have bad days in order to appreciate the good days. Not only do we need these bad days to appreciate the good days, but we need these bad days for experience. We incarnate here in this physical plane for experience. None of us would incarnate here without having an experience of some sort. Yes, I know I said none of us. Well, I'm not incarnate, although I do get to use a body and I get to speak like I'm incarnate. But I don't have to deal with all of the crap that comes with it. Sure, I don't get the experience either. I may not get the experience, but I get enjoyment out of being a spirit guide, which I might add, all of you listening get a chance to be a spirit guide. You may not all want to, but you all get a chance. I am no more special than anyone listening. That I can assure you. I may seem to have all the answers. In fact, I do have all the answers now. But so do you. In time, you will also have all the answers. It's just my turn to help. Everyone gets their turn. We're all equal. All of us. None of us are any more powerful than the other. It may seem that way here, but I assure you it is not. Not the way it is. We're all equal. We're all together. We all unite as one. That's it. We work together. We are together. We don't keep secrets in spirit, anyway. We don't try to advance more than another. We all work together. If one of us learns something, we share it. We don't keep it a secret. Why would we? So why would any of us be more advanced than another? In order to be more advanced, well, you'd have to know more than another. Sure, you can be somewhat more experienced in certain areas than another, but it is not to say that that other being is more experienced in another area. There are people that incarnate here on this physical plane that may seem to be less experienced. And they may be less experienced on this exact physical world plane. But I assure you, in reality, they are just as experienced as you in another physical world, on another plane. For this is not the only way of experience obtained in physical form. There are many, and when I say many, that is a huge understatement. When I say many, I mean more than you can even think of in your physical brain, because there is not a number yet that exists in this world that would tell you how many other physical experiences there are. In fact, there are so many, one could not fathom the idea of it. It would just not make sense. A lot of our true realities would not even make sense. And yes, I get a kick out of it a little bit. Kind of like watching a really good friend that you know play a video game that you've played 1,000,000,000 times, know how to beat it, know all of the little tricks and things to do, but your friend here has only played a few times. Maybe that's not the best analogy, but it's somewhat close. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm sitting here watching my friends play a video game that I know, well, here's a better one. I feel like I'm watching friends that I know play a video game. That might not work either. Trying to find a better one here. And of course, I'm messing with everybody right now. Here's a good one. It's very similar to being a video game programmer and watching all your friends play this video game, which, by the way, they helped program. Now they're playing this video game after being in an accident, and it has made them lose their memory. And they're playing this video game with no knowledge of the fact that they are the ones that made this video game. They programmed it. They are the ones that programmed it as well. So, as you can imagine, it's difficult to watch people playing this video game, having such a hard time with it sometimes, having a good time with it sometimes, enjoying it, but at the same time, knowing that they are the ones that helped program it can also be difficult. But I have no problem helping them with the video game. In fact, I enjoy it. I like pointing out certain features. I can't tell them exactly how to win, because that just would not make the game fun to play, would it? So, I don't feel sorry for them, even though we did get in this accident. Okay, that part doesn't work very well, but I don't feel sorry for them, because I know they'll be okay. The real reason I don't feel sorry for the incarnate is because you all chose to be here. No one was forced to come here. And you all knew what could happen. You could get yourself in a lot of pain. We all know that. Everyone knows that before they incarnate. And I might address myself as being incarnate sometimes, because I have. I've incarnated here before, plenty of time. So I kind of feel comfortable saying that I'm incarnate because I've done it so many times. I feel I've earned that. So if you feel, or if you hear me address myself as being incarnate, well, so be it. Sorry if you aren't comfortable with it. I'm sure no one is not comfortable with saying that, but anyway, got kind of sidetracked there. I like to pretend like I'm incarnate sometimes by forgetting things. Anyway, the video game. Life is very similar to a video game. The world is very similar. And it's somewhat of a program. This physical plane is very similar to a program. A program that we all created together. It's a lot to take in. And I'm sure a lot wouldn't believe it, or don't believe it. But again, it doesn't matter if you believe it now or not. It is what it is. So why would I even bother to tell people this? Why would I bother to tell people that it's a program? Well, I think sometimes people need to hear the truth. And even though your brain might be telling you, no, this is not the truth, your soul knows that it is deep down. And when some of you hear this, it might awaken your souls a little bit. It's kind of like losing a memory here in this physical plane. You completely forgot about this memory. You know you have a memory of something you're trying to remember. But all you need is a little piece of it to bring back the full memory. A little sliver of information. You know you've forgotten something. And you try to remember, but you cannot remember. But then yet, a friend of yours, or a loved one, mentions something that triggers your memory. And then all of a sudden, bam, you remember. Well, that's what I try to do sometimes. By speaking the truth. I'm hoping that some people might listen to what I have to say, and when they hear the truth, it awakens their soul. In fact, I know some of you will. For most of you listening are spiritually aware. And there's a lot to take in sometimes. This world can be very confusing. But I know there's some of you out there that will listen to this and hear the truth. And I know it will awaken a part of your soul. It will open your awareness to your true reality. That's why I say some of the things that I say. Because I want to awaken. I want to awaken as many souls as I can. Because the ones that are able to be woken are the ones that will be listening to this. I know this because us spirits on the spiritual plane all work together. Just like you guys work together in your internet connections. Well, we are connected through thought. We are all working together to try and help this world progress. And there are lots and lots of souls ready to progress. So, I know for a fact that some of you are listening to this right now. And I know for a fact that your guides are doing the best they can to aid you in your awakening right now. Now, after I've said that, I wish I could see the number of hands And in fact, I will be able to see the number of hands raised when I say, "Ooh, just got a little bit of an awakening." Because sometimes you just need a tiny little nudge in the right direction for your spiritual awareness to expand just enough. Your consciousness is ready to expand. All it needs is a little bit of help. And we're all here to help each other. We're all here as one. Sure, not all of us incarnate ones are ready, but I can assure you, most of the ones anyway that are listening to this are ready. Us spirits are making that happen for sure. It was meant to be. Take a look around. Wherever you are, just look around. You feel a little bit of a relief of consciousness in this moment? Do you feel your consciousness opening just a little bit? That, I can assure you, is your spirit team, your spirit guides, the ones who love you very, very, very much, more than you can even imagine. I know you can feel it now. Your spirit guides are working together. They've been with you since you were born. They've been with you way before you were born. They are the ones that will be with you for the rest of your life. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, they will always be with you. They are your spirit team. You know them very, very well. You know them so well. You would not even be able to fathom the connection that you have with your spirit team. Take a minute or two and just feel their presence. Feel their soul. Together, you are all one energy, working together. Understand that they are always going to be with you for the rest of your life, always there by your side. I know some of you now are getting a feeling of, yes, my soul remembers you. I know that. I know that in this moment, right now, some of you are getting this feeling. Your soul is remembering your spirit guides, your spirit team. Your soul is remembering. Because that's all you need sometimes. You are spiritually advanced. That's why you are listening to this. You're listening to this because something inside you led you to this moment right now. Something very powerful. Your true being led you to this moment right now. In this moment, you are your true self. In this moment, you are your true being. This energy that you feel flowing through you right now is not just your energy. This energy is the spirit ones you know and love very much. Their energy is flowing through your body, through your consciousness, letting you know that now is the time to expand your consciousness. Your soul is ready to awaken. Embrace this energy. Welcome this energy, for you know this energy very well. This is nothing new. This energy has been with you always. There is no such thing as time. Time does not exist. Allow your soul to expand even farther. For this is information that will trigger your awakeness, your true conscious soul. Be one. Connect your energy with one. There is one energy, all connected. You are a part of this energy. You are a part of this whole energy that we call consciousness. Okay, this concludes our spirit-controlled address. I would like to explain to you that the recording done while under spirit control cannot be adjusted and can only be recorded once. Therefore, any technical problems that occur must be left to be. So I would like to apologize for any recording interference that you might have heard. Due to the high level of energy manipulation during any type of spirit control, there is usually some type of interference picked up on the recording. I am told by Spirit that today's message was intended for all who is listening. Some might have connected with it right away, and some might have not connected at all. This does not mean that it was not intended for you if you had no connection with it. It just means that it might take a little time to sink in. If you listen to the whole message without turning it off, then it was meant for you to hear. These type of messages from Spirit are meant to unlock your consciousness and pull you out of the zone that we call life. We live our lives at such a fast pace, most of us need a tap on the shoulder from Spirit every now and then. A tap on the shoulder is really all we need to get our peripheral consciousness to wake up again. For a lot of us, our peripheral consciousness has been asleep since childhood. But remember, it's nothing new to us. It's just been a long time. Some of the feelings that some of you might have experienced during the message, I'm sure are unexplainable. But I'm also sure that those feelings and thoughts have brought up some questions. Some of your questions are actually not even your questions at all. They are thoughts from Spirit that show up in question form. Our spirit helpers do this because they are questions that they want you to ask. They are able to communicate with you through thought. And sometimes manipulating your thoughts into questions is the easiest way for them to connect. So please don't feel like some questions are not worthy of an answer. Any question is a good question. You will know who to ask when it comes to questions. You will know if it's the right answer. If you feel the answer is not right for you, then keep asking the same questions until you get what you feel is the right answer. Our spirit helpers operate in unusual but amazing ways. If they want you to know something, you'll know. It's just up to you how fast. Understanding how spirit works makes this process more fluent. I hope everyone got a good experience out of this episode. I know some of the things I talk about can be a little confusing, but the things I talk about are meant to spark a spiritual awareness and get your consciousness to expand. Our consciousness does not expand on its own. Your consciousness needs another consciousness to expand. Even though our consciousness is all connected together as one, we need to be reminded this while incarnate. In other words, most of us have forgotten that we are all one. Once we remind ourselves this, a lot of the world's mystery and confusion starts to make sense again. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time with me. Please don't hesitate to ask me any questions, as I'm looking forward to discussing any matters of thought with you. Please visit my website, peripheralconsciousness.com, for more information and how to contact me. If you find some of the things I talk about interesting, you might find my book, Peripheral Consciousness, intriguing. It's available for purchase on my website. Thanks again, and I look forward to speaking with you, hopefully in the near future. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time. I know a lot of the things that I talk about can be quite confusing. That being said,